Hello, everybody, and welcome to our channel. I'm Mark,
And I'm Rob.
and today we're going to talk about whether or not many of Angel Reese's fans like her for the wrong reasons. Hey, everyone, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so, and hit the notification bell when you do so you get notified of our next videos. Rob, Angel Reese is arguably the second most popular player in the WNBA, and she's only a rookie after Caitlin Clark, of course. Which is kind of surprising considering they have these all-stars there and two-time MVPs and Asia Wilson and Brianna Stewart. And it only took her half a season to do that. But Rob, I'm not going to say most, but I wonder if many of her fans like her for the wrong reasons. Many of her fans do not like Caitlin Clark without really a good reason. And let's go back to how she became popular in the first place, and we can figure it out. So I never heard of her, Rob, when she went to play Caitlin Clark in Caitlin Clark's junior year. But it turns out she was first team All-American that year. But I didn't follow women's college basketball that closely. I knew who Paige Becker was because she was Player of the Year.
Okay.
And I knew who Caitlin Clark was. And she was Player of the Year that year. And they played in the championship game. And we saw what happened. Caitlin Clark's team lost. She did the ring thing and the Now You See Me at the foul line with 50 seconds left. And then she did it again with 10 seconds left. She stalked and taunted and goaded Caitlin Clark for the last 10 seconds of the game while her team was celebrating as the clock winded down. And she became famous for that, Rob.
Right.
I was appalled by it myself. And I thought it was very unsportsmanlike. And it was drastically different than what Caitlin Clark did, despite what the bobbleheads said over at ESPN. Caitlin Clark did it for like 1 second coming out of a huddle, either to her coach or to Haley Van Lith. It's unclear. And it was in the middle of the game when they were trash talking back and forth. Right. And that was it. And that was like 2 games ago. And she didn't do it to LSU. And she never did it they never even played LSU that year. So she didn't do any trash talking with LSU or anything like that to LSU, and she never did it to Angel Reese. But Angel Reese didn't like the fact that this white woman got away with that, I guess. I don't know why I said it. Go ahead, Rob. I don't know.
It was just childish. I mean, it was childish on her part. And like I said, if Angel Reese did that to another player, and then why would Angel Reese all of a sudden see that and say, well, I'm going to do that? And like, oh, I don't know if she's trying to defend the other player or even know what the situation was. Why would she even like attempt to do something like that? Especially then after the game, like to kind of stalk her and try to get in her face. And whereas like we mentioned, like if it was me, I definitely would have confronted her. Like, definitely been a bit of confrontation if she did that to me after the game, especially after I lost.
Right, Rob. Here's the problem I have, Rob. If she had just done it at the foul line with 50 seconds left with the ring and Now You See Me for a couple seconds, all right, fine. Caitlin Clark was a bit of a showboat, did a little trash talking, but nothing excessive, not as much as people are trying to make it sound.
Right.
I would have been okay with that. But then she did it a second time when the game was over with. And she did it. She stalked her for 10 seconds, following her around as the game ended. I've never seen that in the history of sports, watching sports for 60 years. Never have I seen someone on the losing team do it to the best player in the winning team after the championship is over. And that's, first of all, I want to make something clear. That's not trash talking. Trash talking is where you go back and forth during the game when the game's in doubt. The game was no longer in doubt at that point. So that wasn't trash talking. It was taunting and goading and rubbing it in.
and then like we said, so then people like that. People enjoyed that. Hey, you really showed her. And so that's how she really, her fan, I mean, she was a good player, but then after that, her fanship went through the roof, through social media, like, yeah, you showed her.
It did, Rob. Her Instagram went from 600,000 to 1.3 almost overnight or within 2 days. And so did her TikTok and so did her Twitter. They all went from that amount to like, and now it's at 3.8 million, her Instagram. And I wonder, Rob, if it's because they like the fact that she did that to a white woman who's getting all this attention.
Well,
And
it's almost like I'm sorry, Mike. It's almost like a trickle effect where people who don't like Caitlin Clark, and they're like, "Oh, cool, she did to Caitlin Clark. Yeah, I really so glad that she did it to her because I don't like her anyway."
and then when people said, "Listen, that was unsportsmanlike," they said, "Oh no, she did the exact same thing to Caitlin Clark." And I just pointed out it was drastically different. Caitlin Clark did it for 1 second, not for 10 seconds, not for 5 seconds. She didn't do it twice. She didn't do two different things. She did one thing, and she did it during the game. So it's like 6 differences in terms of what she did. And this isn't trash talking. And Rob, so this is why I got upset, was that people criticize people like me who were upset at what Angel Reese did, and then called it racist, saying there was a double standard, when clearly it wasn't a double standard,
No.
because it wasn't the exact same thing. It wasn't even close to the same thing. It wasn't similar. It was drastically different.
And like I was saying, what she did it because she saw Caitlin Clark maybe do it to someone else, but not it wasn't like the way she did it. And plus, she didn't do it to her. So why? I mean, if she was retaliating for what Caitlin Clark did to her during the game,
Right.
maybe I might have been. But I mean, she didn't do anything to her during the game.
Yeah, why
So
did she feel it was her job to take care of Haley Van Leith or anyone else that Caitlin Clark maybe did? Well, she didn't. She only did it once, and she says she did it to her strength coach. It's not clear to me who she did it to, but it was coming out of a huddle.
Right. So I mean, unless someone did something to me like that, maybe I might retaliate. But I mean,
right.
For her to get in the bit, like I said, why are you all in her business? It doesn't even concern you. But people love that because they're like, they just saw one side and they go, oh yeah, you're right. Look what she did. So she did it. So she deserved it.
And then, well, I was insulted when they said it was racist for me to criticize it, or not just me, but like a lot of people criticize it. And I said, no, that's racist for claiming racism when it doesn't exist. Is my point. But what bothers me, Rob, is that it's almost like, okay, Caitlin Clark was getting a lot of publicity, and it was obvious she was going to be Player of the Year, and she was getting an inordinate amount of publicity, more than she probably deserved. And so I think Angel Reese and her fans thought she was getting too much publicity because she was white. Mm-hmm. And so she liked the fact that she put this white woman in her place at the end of the game. Mm-hmm. And I was like, why would you be happy about that? It's just like,
well, that's what I'm saying. This society, why would you applaud? I mean, then it trickles down, like I'm sure we're going to get to, where Reese is clapping, where another person gets knocked to the ground who could have been hurt, and you're applauding someone who gets hurt. It's like if you see someone walking down the street and they fall and face first, and you walk by and you're clapping, you don't help them up. That means you're just being a jerk, total jerk.
Right. And the kind of stuff that Caitlin Clark did normally was like she was at home and she'd raise her hands to get the crowd going. They do that in football games all the time. It's not like she did anything extreme. She wasn't I don't think she was overly cocky or did a lot of trash talking, but some people said she did some trash talking. And then the week before is when they did it. But then 2 games before in the semifinals, she did wave off Raven Johnson when she was at the free 3-point line, because Raven Johnson shot 24% that year from the 3-point line. So Caitlin Clark goes, I'm not even going to cover you. Okay. That was a little bit rude, but it wasn't even in her face. It wasn't even, you know what I mean? It wasn't like in her face like that. She just kind of waved her off.
Oh, she didn't stalk her either. She didn't
right.
She wasn't stalking her. But I mean, yeah. So people liking that and saying, yeah, that's normal behavior. That's not normal behavior.
Right.
It's not normal behavior. So you're applauding, which I think, unfortunately, in society is happening. You're applauding bad behavior. So that's why she's already like, well, okay, I'll play the villain. So now she's playing the putting the black hat on and playing the villains because she realizes that gives her the attention that she wants.
Right, and it did, and I just wonder, Rob, if a lot of her fans started liking her because they're black and Caitlin Clark is white, and they don't like the fact that this white woman's get a lot of attention in a black sport.
That's true.
I just wonder. I'm just
No,
saying that.
there's no wonder, Mark. It's true. That's probably most likely that's
Right.
true.
And I'm not saying all their fans. I'm not even saying most. I'm saying many, because it went from 600,000 to 1.3 million almost overnight,
Mm-hmm.
and after she became famous for that. I get it. Her Instagram account, I get it that she has a great body and she looks good in a bikini. And that's why Instagram grew. But that's not the only reason it grew. And then her fans follow her to the WNBA. And then Caitlin Clark fans and Angel Reese fans argue on Twitter and put each other down. Caitlin Clark fans do it also. But Angel Reese has given Caitlin Clark fans reasons for not disliking her, like good reasons, strong reasons. She's always playing the victim. Like after she lost the next year, she didn't say anything positive about Caitlin Clark. All she talked about is how she was the victim for the last year. She wanted to be the bad guy, and then she didn't want to take what comes with being the bad guy.
Right.
That's not how life works.
Right. That's exactly what I'm saying. You want to be the bad guy, but then when you get the response for being the bad guy, you want to claim victim. I'm the victim. Wait a minute. You're promoting this yourself. So why? Yeah, the reason why, and with herself, why are you promoting yourself to be a bad person when people are saying that you're supposedly she's very nice, a good person? Then why don't you show that? She doesn't realize that if she flipped it over, she would probably get even more endorsements if she wouldn't have that kind of attitude.
Right. So I'm just saying she's very popular, especially among Black fans. Mm-hmm. And I'm just wondering, is that the reason why? Is because she was able to beat Caitlin Clark in the finals of that year. The next year when she lost, I guess it was a different story.
Yeah.
And then when she lost again in the WNBA, she was victim again. She supposedly said Caitlin Clark got special whistles, which wasn't even true. Yeah. It was an obvious foul call. It was an obvious flagrant one call.
And now she likes her after she played with her in the All-Star game. Now she kind of likes her. So I'm like,
wow. Okay. I don't know if she likes her, Rob, because she seems like a phony person to me. But they got along All-Star weekend. But Caitlin Clark has always taken the high road. And Caitlin Clark took the high road even after what she did to her. She said, I don't know, I wasn't even paying attention. I was just trying to get with my teammates to shake hands. And then they didn't even shake hands.
She always, like we had a video. I mean, what she does and what she's thinking, she's probably like, who is this girl getting up in my face? But she's just like, I'm just going to ignore her, make her, and that's probably the good way to do it, Mark, because ignoring her made Reese look stupid.
Yeah, I think it did, Rob. She took the high road even during the game, but after the game too. So, like I said, I can't get in people's minds as to why they like. I mean, Caitlin Clark is the most exciting basketball player by a large margin, and that's why she has a lot of fans. And that people don't get that. They keep thinking it's because she's white. That's not the main reason. And so, I guess people are upset that she gets all this publicity, and they're not willing to accept the reason is not because it's race. And so, that's why they don't like her.
Angel Reese is a good player. She's a very good player. She's getting rebounds. She's had some double-doubles, even if they are kind of tainted. Still, she's a nice rebounder. For being drafted 7th, she's doing a very good job as far as playing in the WNBA.
Well, Skip Bayless says she's the best offensive rebounder ever for man or woman. So,
well, you know what we say about that. We just go the opposite way of that when he says something. But
she's a great rebounder and a great offensive rebounder, and she may go down as the best rebounder in the history of the WNBA. I'm not even doubting that part. Mm-hmm. I'm not even, but her game is limited outside of that, Rob. Her offensive game is ugly. Her defense is rather average. She only has 10 block shots. Caitlin Clark, who supposedly doesn't play any defense, has 22, and she's a guard.
Right. You think she would be a better defensive player in the post, but the post players are blocking her shots instead.
Right. And I don't like what Caitlin Clark fans do about, giving Angel Reese a hard time. I don't like that either. I dislike her, but I don't do anything. I'm not on Twitter. I think it's a cesspool and it's toxic. So I'm not on there. And I don't like but I don't like what Angel Reese fans do to Caitlin Clark. Say about Caitlin Clark for no reason. They say she sucks. And really, that's not what's happening here. That's, if you watch the last 10 games, especially, she's actually lived up to her billing so far. She looks like she's going to be the best point guard in the history of the WNBA. She looks like she may be the best rookie since Candace Parker. I mean, that doesn't suck.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
It doesn't. And it looks like she's going to be an MVP someday. And to me, she looks like she's going to be the best player in the history of the WNBA, although I can't say it's the sure thing. And Angel Reese is going to have a great career. I don't see her being an MVP someday, but maybe if she improves her offensive game, she will be.
And then they got nice little rivalry, like we said. It could be like a Magic Bird type thing whenever they play. And with this Rookie of the Year voting, we're definitely going to see more of this type of behavior and commenting. I'm pretty sure on both sides. If Reese wins, there's going to be a problem with that. If Caitlin Clark wins, even though she deserves it, she's still going to get from the black side saying, "Oh, you just voted for her because she's white," and that. And it's just ugly. It's going to be an ugly scene either way.
But Caitlin Clark has shown, since she's been in the league, she's shown class the whole way and taken the high road, Rob. So I don't, people are going to say, well, then you just dislike Angel Reese because she's black. I said, I don't see skin color and for things like that. I try not to see skin color at all. And almost all my favorite athletes are black. And Rob knows this. He's had lots of discussions with me.
And you have a black person on your show.
And a black person on my show, Rob. Look at that. And she's done so many things to show that she's just not a likable person. Rob. Mm-hmm. I don't think Caitlin Clark has, but you don't like Caitlin Clark, fine. Some people don't like Caitlin Clark. She was complaining to the refs too much. Not when she was younger, but when in her senior year, she was complaining to the refs too much. She got rid of that. She doesn't do it much anymore. Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter. The NBA players do it all the time. People don't care about that. But
right.
But if people dislike Angel Reese because she's black, that's wrong too.
That's totally wrong.
I'm not. That's not me. I disliked her for what she did and then what she's continued to do since then, including what Rob pointed out earlier, where she actually cheered when Caitlin Clark got cheap shot. I mean, that shows you're not a good person. If Kennedy Carter had blocked Caitlin Clark's shot, if Angel Reese had stood up and cheered when Kennedy Carter blocked Caitlin Clark's shot, that would have been great. I would have too.
Yeah.
But that's not what happened.
No.
She got cheap shot to the ground. Why would you cheer something like that?
Cheap shot her. She clapped and then gave her a hug, great job. Like that was a great job how you knocked. And then, like I said, the coach. That's the main thing with me. The coach did nothing. If my player had done a dirty play like that, I would have called her over and said, "Excuse me." I would have said, "Come over here." I would say, and like I said, I would have sat her down probably for the rest of the game.
And then she didn't show up for the event, community affair with little girls in the All-Star weekend because she had to go to NBA Summer League game, and she said, "Why? That's where my money is, boo," or whatever she said.
Yeah, that's my money.
I just does not come across as likable. That's all. Really, it's nothing to do with her skin color. But people got to quit looking at race, and I have a feeling that part of her popularity is from her fans is that she put the white girl in her place. Or a white woman in her place. Mm-hmm. And that's just my theory. I could be wrong.
No,
some of the fans on Instagram, of course, because I said they like her photos. I already mentioned that. But in terms of her popularity, in terms of not liking Caitlin Clark, it's like, why do you have to not? And that's another thing, Rob. Why do people Caitlin Clark fans have to not like Angel Reese and Angel Reese not like Caitlin Clark? I don't dislike her just because I'm a Caitlin Clark fan and she's seen as this rival. I dislike her because of her personality. I don't root against her, playing wise or team wise, unless they play Indiana. I don't really root for them. I don't care about that. But doesn't mean I'm going to like her personality. Just, she's got to change for me to like her personality. I get she's only 22. I get that. Diana Taurasi's personality sucks and she's 42.
I mean,
Kyrie Irving was a complete idiot until this year, and he's 32.
I mean, Mark, she's out there making her money, boo. So, you can't be.
So I'm not trying to have a double standard here. If there's people out there that dislike Angel Reese because she's black, that of course is wrong too. But I don't get the impression that Caitlin Clark fans are Caitlin Clark fans because she's white for the most part, or because she put Angel Reese in her place, because she didn't, because she lost her the first time. The next year she put her in her place. She had a great game and defeated Angel Reese's team. Yeah. But I didn't start rooting for Caitlin Clark because she beat Angel Reese's team the next year. And I don't think most other people did. She was already popular before that.
All it comes down to maturity, like we've had other views and other videos, Mark. And I think just that, Reese is just acting like an immature 22-year-old. But I'm hoping that a light will come off in her head and say, okay, I got to stop doing this, acting this way. And she'll realize, I mean, she doesn't have to, you don't have to like people you work with. But I mean, you can at least respect, don't disrespect them and treat them and act like a clown when they get hurt.
And I will say, I like Angel Reese's game in the sense that she really puts a lot of effort out there, Rob. She works hard out there, and I like that about her game. That doesn't mean I like her personality, but I can see that part. And again, she's probably going to go as the best rebounder in the history of the WNBA, maybe the best offensive rebounder in the history of the WNBA. She's leading the league as a rookie. That's great.
Yeah.
So I'm not the one underrating her. Like, that's the other thing. Angel Reese fans is underrating Caitlin Clark merely because they don't like Caitlin Clark. Just be objective. That's just so silly. If you don't like her, fine. But that doesn't mean pretend that she sucks or that she's going to be average. You can see she's not going to be average, okay? If you can't see that she's not going to be average right now, you're just being dishonest.
Yeah, and then putting in like she's padding her stats. Like, how is she padding her stats? I think Angel Reese is the one who's padding her stats or going back into the game to try to break a record. You don't see Clark doing that.
We'll see what happens, Rob. But you're not going to have much of an argument when she starts winning MVPs, which she's going to.
Right.
In my opinion. I could be wrong. And you can come back to me and say, I overstated it, but I don't think so, Rob.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Right. When you make your teammates that much better, you tend to get MVP awards, even in the WNBA, where generally the guards do not get it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's what's going to happen. And
I think so.
You're going to look really foolish for saying she sucks just because you didn't like her because she's white.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all I'm saying. I was the one that was surprised that they wanted Rickea Jackson and J.C. Sheldon drafted ahead of her. I thought she had more potential than them. So, like I said, that's because I disliked her. Didn't mean I underestimated her. I think everybody underestimated her ability to get rebounds. Nobody thought she would lead the league in rebounding. Let us know what you think. Yeah, you can tell me I'm wrong. From my perspective, and I know it's coming from a white perspective, I get the feeling that too many of her fans like her because she's black and put the white woman in place during the championship game, and they've continued to follow her into the WNBA. I don't get the same impression on white Caitlin Clark fans dislike Angel Reese because of her race. I get it because of what she did at the championship game, which was classless and unsportsmanlike, and what she's done since then, where she always plays the victim and showed some more unsportsmanship after that. So that's just me, but I could be wrong. That's just my opinion.
I don't think so.
Let us know what you think and see, what the real reason you don't like Caitlin Clark. And the same thing for the Caitlin Clark fans. You harass Angel Reese. No one should be harassing Angel Reese just because you don't like her. Just let her play. Just get off.
It's that thing where people just how do you dislike somebody who hasn't done anything to you?
I dislike Angel Reese, but I don't say anything negative on her on Twitter and harass her and stuff like that and make insulting comments and racist comments and stuff like that, which I've heard people do. Caitlin Clark fans. That's wrong too. I'll make that quite clear.
Totally. Yeah.
I just say negative things about her personality because she has a negative personality. I say the same thing about Diana Taurasi, and she's not black. Brianna Stewart, I say the same thing about her negative personality, and she's not black. So, I can dislike people that I don't meet. Rob can't. So I'm different than that.
I can do it.
Okay. Well, you said, how can you dislike someone you haven't met?
Oh, I mean, yeah. I'm sorry. How can you dislike somebody you haven't met? That's
I can. I do. I dislike them. If they shown enough of their personality, I dislike a person. That doesn't mean I really know them down to earth. Know them, but from what I know about them, I dislike them. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and hit that notification bell when you do so you get notified of our next videos. And we're going to be covering the Olympics starting tomorrow. The opening ceremonies are today at 1:30 our time, Eastern time. But then the marquee events are prime time in Paris, which is 2 to 5 Eastern time in the United States. So from July 27th to August 10th, we'll be covering that. And tomorrow they're going to have a lot of swimming events, okay, in the men's and women's. So we'll be covering that. And our normal live show is Monday, 6 to 8 Eastern time. However, we won't be doing that for the next 2 weeks because of the Olympics. If you want to donate to our channel, you can in the super chat down below, or there'll be a link to PayPal now in the links down below. We'll see you in the next video.
Peace out.